back to Krown's magical unicorn cave.
Wait, unicorns. Whoa, Jesus, get that out of my face. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. It's time for a little bit more predictions. And we actually have plenty to talk about today as Bitcoin does take the short-term, medium-term downside trajectory, hitting our targets to about 55,000, a little bit of a bouncy bounce there, and then continuation down almost to our next $52,500 target. And that leads us into today, of which that has plenty of implications with the short and medium-term timeframes. Higher-term timeframes still more or less unchanged. Kind of spoiled that surprise, I suppose. A little bit of a clickbait title today for some good fun. Fake selling. It's never fucking fake selling. Hey, if it's an actual sell, if you see the red thing over here in the market mover tab, that's real. That matters. And guess what? The liquidation engine doesn't give a fuck who the hell thinks what is real and what is fake, because all of the things that come through over here, assuming that they actually are, connected to the actual right data feed, which they are in this case, then it is indeed real, and you can count on that. So with that said, I would like to wish you the best and the happiest of the happiest. Of course, I also do want to say another heartfelt thank you for being a part of this community, because it is the 3-year and 1-day anniversary. It's a very special day today. And of course, we do have a sale going on to celebrate that fact. I won't go through the full rigmarole with that, but I will just say, hey, make sure you watch the videos that accompany any one of the programs, any one of the indicators, any one of the stuff, so that you can see if it's going to be a good fit for you or not. Spoiler alert, yes, if you don't have enough time to put into these sorts of things, you're probably not going to get much out of it. They're not fucking magic pills at the end of the day, and it will require a shit ton of work from your behalf, of course. But with that said, I do want to also, I just want to scare the shit out of people so that people who aren't too sure, don't obviously get into that. And Jesus Christ, man, the fucking war of typing over there is already getting started in the early morning hours. So with that in mind, let's get through the Krown Chain application, which, by the way, is 100% free. So take advantage of it, or, don't. But we do have plenty of, we actually have plenty of integrations coming in relatively soon. A big one that I'm really excited about is integrations with CME data. So we'll actually be able to show you direct CME data, not just for Bitcoin, but for actually all markets, really. Whatever the fuck we want to throw on there, as it seems like they're completely cool with that, which is pretty damn awesome. So, obviously it will cost us money, but we are more than happy to do that because because I want to use it. And so everyone else can benefit from that. So there you go. Anyways, what do we see on the dashboard today? Yeah, we see a lot of things, actually. So first and foremost, open interest coming down about almost 2 billion over the last couple days. We did see it get a little bit above 11.5 billion, I believe, coming into Monday after Bitcoin hit that $62,000 target to the upside. So with that in mind, we actually do still see that this is longs taking profits here. So if you are looking at this, it's like driven from, with the whole, do I even want to get into that whole fucking explanation with why people think like XYZ is selling on XYZ fucking exchange? Jesus Christ, man. It's such silliness in my opinion, man. It's a good story. It's great for the media. It's great for the crypto news channels. As actual trading goes, does it matter? I mean, it doesn't matter who the fuck's selling. It just matters that sells actually do happen. Anyways, more importantly, let's get back onto your route and over here before I get onto another fucking bogus thread. And let's see. Fear and Greed Index also coming down a little bit from yesterday to today. Market's still a little bit more in the optimistic zone, as you would imagine. Still haven't seen any major, massive structural changes. And Bitcoin dominance, more importantly, coming down pretty significantly from yesterday to today. And this is actually going to play into the analysis that Bitcoin is more or less ranging right now. If Bitcoin was really breaking down and breaking structure and, had significant downside, I would expect to see that the Bitcoin dominance actually shot up alongside Bitcoin coming back down. But the way that I interpret this right now, at least within the current context of price action, is that Bitcoin is more or less ranging, at least as long as a few conditions are met, which we'll get into in the video soon enough. But with that said, I do want to come back to this number here, so we will come back and recall that. But generally, the general market knowledge still does essentially apply, meaning that whenever Bitcoin's ranging, altcoins are going to more or less have good times. Whenever Bitcoin's trending, altcoins are going to more or less have bad times versus their Satoshi parent, versus US dollar parent, going to follow whatever direction that Bitcoin chooses, more or less, as we do see from last night or yesterday, I guess, as Bitcoin has another, $5,000, $6,000 down day, which is a nice little clean 10% move on a nice Monday. But more importantly, Bitcoin dominance coming down rather than actually going up is a little bit more indicative that Bitcoin is still more or less on a high-term time frame range, which we will discuss in more depth here. Again, that combined with the open interest coming down alongside that does suggest that longs are essentially, or bulls are essentially in control of this market right now, and a little bit of profit taking after a bit of a swing failure pattern right there. Well, fair enough. Anyways, on top of that, we do see, or actually no, we don't see anything else. Let's go down to the top 10 coins, top 10 worst coins. This is very interesting here. We're actually seeing the 2017 shitcoins get their time in the sun now. Siacoin, Nem, Reserve. I don't know what the fuck Reserve Rights is, but Ravencoin. I remember all those ones from 2017. Even, what is this? Nexo, I think that one was there. Aunt, yeah, I remember that one as well. Aunt, hey, what's up, Ray? Ray, I would like to, can you check out the God Indice? It is a global index, ticker Z's, brah. If you can't find it, then you're not worthy. Love ya, babes. No problem, chess bra. I'll have that coming right up for you, served on a fucking silver platter bunghole dish. Anyways, what the fuck does that even mean? Doesn't matter, man. Just keep on talking. Anyways, looking at this right on over here. Okay, on the market data tab, we actually see a couple of very interesting things here too. Most importantly, we do see that the funny rate has had a complete reset coming all the way down. So we did identify that this was a little bit of a short-term problematic thing coming in from yesterday, of course. That was when Bitcoin was trading somewhere around Jesus Christ, sorry, I need to focus down right now. That was when Bitcoin was trading a little bit around $60,000 yesterday when we were doing our video. Now coming all the way down, we do say that this does have a reset. So remember, we actually did see about 48 hours consistently above that 0.1% threshold with multiple exchanges, and that actually did play out. But seeing a reset this fast does still bode well, I do believe, for the higher term timeframes. Now, again, higher term timeframes is going to naturally incur a massive range. So with that said, I'm not necessarily saying that this is, the low right here. In fact, I'd go as far as saying it's probably not, at least for right now. But everything in moderation, and we do need to incorporate the whole view of this in order to get like an actual good read on the markets right now. I also want to pull in this one as well. Remember yesterday the last couple of days, especially over the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and a little bit into Monday, we were looking at the premium of futures over spot price action, and it was just straight up fucking massive right there. More so than what we saw on the last rally to $58,000, which was a very, very aggressive one, and those sorts of things were being priced in, and that was a damn good indication, yes, as well, that Bitcoin was going to come back down into range. So with all of that said, we do see a good reset on these, but I do still think that it probably comes down a little bit more. If these can come into parity, especially, that's going to be a damn good signal that we probably do go into another likely accumulation range. Anyways, looking at the individualistic ones, do we see anything out of the ordinary? No. In fact, the chart here is very deceptive once again in its presentation, but as you can see, the highest one is just barely above 0.04%, which is not in any way, shape, or form consequential for at least in the way that I look at things. Let's see. SJ Prop says, just watch your opening video straight through for the first time. It was badass. Though the video didn't show your hair, last shot should be your hair. That's best when you're chugging water like the old days. Yeah, man, fun times for sure. Glad that you did enjoy that. And that video is very special to me, very fucking special to me, just because a good old friend made it. A late old friend made it. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. But goddamn, man, it is a damn good relic, a damn good memory of that relationship. So Jesus Christ, man, probably don't want to get into that explanation right now because that is a little bit too depressing for the early morning hours, and I'm a sensitive person here. So let's see. Is there anything else that we want to check out as of the current moment in time? Bitcoin dominance taking a little bit of a downturn right there. Yes, that again will play into the analysis a little bit later. And anything else that's sticking out like a sore thumb? No, not really, actually. No, not really. All right, so with that in mind, let's go into the actual price action charts. Let's start off with our secondary charts once again today. I do want to do a perusal of the higher term timeframes, and I want to be very direct and clear here because there's going to be, once again, similar to yesterday, a differential between different timeframe analysis, as is typical. Usually it's somewhat rare that you see everything fucking line up with each other. But high term timeframes, I'm still not in any way, shape, or form bearish on. There's no reason for me to be bearish on anything that looks like this, and especially anything that looks like this as well long term. I'd even go as far as saying that I not that I wouldn't be surprised, but I would actually be looking for Bitcoin over the next couple of weeks to very likely make new all-time highs. Very likely, somewhere around April, beginning of April, that is, or April Fools. There you go. Just have a little bit of a rug pull in your life. Anyways, more importantly with this, I still really do favor this in a more sincere tone. Long term, I am still bullish. Long term, I would still be looking for Bitcoin to, likely make a stab up into the deeper $60,000 territory towards the next target, our next major target, about $69,000. Also for the Mimi number there too. Looking at a momentum oscillators here, yeah, a little bit of a, a little bit of a a little bit of a lost momentum, which is completely fine. And to be expected when you are in a pretty damn aggressive rally like this. And at some point, yes, this will come to fruition, and we will see a massive downturn. But I don't think that we're there just yet. Believe me, I would absolutely love to get bearish on Bitcoin. This channel was born in 2018. This channel was born in the bear market, and as a trader, that's really where you actually do have to use your skills. Right now, everyone's fucking making money except for the over leveraged schlongs who are getting shish kebabbed right now. So with that said, I do want to start off with this. But let's juxtapose that against a short-term time frame analysis just a second. Let me see. Bruh. Congrats on 3 years. Hey, thanks, brother. I appreciate that, man. And and much love, man. Fox and Hound says, can you give a brief description of how you use shorter-term time frames versus higher? Thanks, babe. I'd really like to get through the analysis first, and then we can get to like more directed questions. I just feel like, you know, it's got to flow a little bit. So if it's okay with you, I'd like to save this one for after we get through all this. I promise it won't be too damn long today, but we'll get back to it. I promise. All right, cool. So with that in mind, yes, you know, all higher term timeframes, at least in the way that I look at them, are still very much bullish to myself. Looking at the monthly right here, I'm not bearish on anything that looks like this. And ultimately, actually, I would be looking for Bitcoin to pull through here. The question is, where does Bitcoin try to put in one of these next higher lows? As this is still all well and good, and at least in the way that I look at it, at least in the way that things are right now. Well, let's go down to our lower term timeframes right now, and let's follow from yesterday's short term timeframe analysis, and also our what's it called, our Forex video from last night. So what was the conditions yesterday set up? If Bitcoin breaks below 58,000 bucks right here, also the 2.618 fib extension, then very likely we would see a move down to about 55,000 bucks, likely a little bit of a bouncy bounce there. That's what we got right here. And then we came back later on the Forex video saying, yeah, bounce is, you know, okay right now, but very likely does get sold into. Next target would be 52,500 bucks, of which I do believe that we're kind of in line with right now, as you can see back down around here. Now, what I would like to do is actually like to make this one massive zone right here, because this actually will start to change around more, I wouldn't say higher term time frame biases, but this one's going to have another implication. This area right here is going to have another implication with another multi-$1,000 move. So first and foremost, I would like to see this area tested. It's not necessarily that I like to see this area tested. I'm essentially looking for price action to test around this region and very likely try to put in a low here. Again, when we recall back to our underlying market dynamics, we have seen a bullish reset, or I wouldn't necessarily say a bullish reset, but we have seen a reset on the funny rate, and also the Bitcoin dominance coming down back in a range would suggest that Bitcoin is playing out a range rather than a reversal, at least for right now. What would conditions for reversal be here? However, perhaps we'll go back to, well, maybe not just this chart, yes, although caretaker says 51,500 bucks. Yeah, he's probably gonna be right on that one. Fair enough. But more importantly, what would my conditions be for, you know, a major reversal here, like a macro reversal in this case? Anywhere below 45,000 bucks is no bueno for Bitcoin. That's your last little higher low right here. If you can even consider that a higher low, that would obviously undo the current hidden bullish divergence on the weekly as well, and we can start to look for moves, you know, another 10,000 bucks down, and that's the next big one. That would actually be your weekly 21 exponential moving average or 20 simple moving average test right there, which everyone's aware about now because we've been fucking beating that horse to death for like the last 2-3 years. Anyways, fair enough on that one. I do think that Bitcoin's gonna have a chance to at least try to put in a little bit of a low here on the short and medium term time frames first and foremost. So I would still respect essentially the $51,500 to $52,500 level. Yes, I do think that Bitcoin very likely does test it, and when we do see all lower term time frame momentum also to still pointed more or less southwards, I do think that, you know, it really wouldn't take too much to get them on a nice up or at least an up try there, as we do see the 4 hour getting all the way down to the edge of the critical zone in the bearish territory. Same thing on the 3 hour right here, still angled to the downside though, I should denote. Same thing on the buy hourly, a little bit of a flippy floppy and then down. That's usually going to be your continuation signal, and same thing on the hourly here as well. So with all of that in mind, we do see essentially the quadfecta of all lower term timeframes kind of aligning up with each other, and so I would still favor a little bit more short-term downside continuation. And then at this level right here, probably does grind it out a little bit. Again, 51,500 to 52,500 bucks. I know it's a rather large area, but if I did have to kind of bring it down a little bit, I'd say it's more like 51,500 to 52,500. I would err on the downside actually rather than the upside there. I don't think right now is the time to be like super aggressive, but I would be looking for bottoming action within this region. What would that look like? A bunch of wicks probably into the edge of the bluish box right here. The blue box of peace and prosperity, as we used to call them, and also the 2-spot extension right here on the fibs, by the way, and then if that starts happening, then we talk about bounce targets, likely back up somewhere around about 55,000 bucks, maybe even 56,000 bucks. At which point, I might even be interested in playing a position, at least for a little bit of a scalpy scalp. So as it stands right now, looking at our lower term time frame momentum oscillators, I also do want to denote that 4 hour RSI is doing what? It's actually breaking this trend line that we had in from our last few major lows coming out of late February. Yeah, that was actually way the fuck back on over here. That was actually around yesterday's video. So funnily enough, not funnily enough, I mean, there's nothing funny about this shit, but I certainly missed that one. That would have been a damn good early indication that Bitcoin was going to break down as well. So I'd be looking for some sort of hidden divergences on the other side. Now, I want to bring up this concept that I think I first learned from maybe Jackie in the Discord, or at least he's the first person who kind of brought it up. And then I started testing it myself with Caretaker's Indicator here. And it's this, divergence plays on the RSI. We've seen, or a lot of time what we see is we see regular divergences lead into continuation divergences, and you don't really see any sort of reversals until that actually does happen. Or sorry, no, you don't see any continuations until that actually does happen. What do I mean by this? Okay, so on this side, we obviously do have bearish divergence confirmed, right? That means that on the other side, when you're looking for a low, we at least need to have the possibility, the potential of hidden bullish divergence. And in this case, with RSI making, well, it's not making any low right now, but with this posturing where it's not even making a lower low than our last low, then we obviously cannot be having hidden bullish divergence at this point. So in that case, that would imply that Bitcoin very likely does test further downside here. Whether you're bullish or bearish, you're looking for likely that hidden bullish divergence on the other side. If you're looking for a continuation, you really want to see that. I've seen that plenty of times happen now, and at Caretaker's RSI just makes this really fucking simple. So it's a little bit of a cheat code for myself. It's actually made me a little bit lazy as well. I would suggest if you are interested in something like that, learn how to read divergences first, because it will only serve you well, and it can be a little bit of a crutch, which I don't know, man. It's like one of those things. Do you need to learn fucking math if you have a calculator? Well, yes, but also no, but mostly yes. You kind of do need to learn it because you want to understand, what's going on beneath the hood there, because there will be, more delicate situations. And in this case right here, we can see that that's, not even going to be potential. Even if we go down to a 12-hour, I wonder if that's going to be a potential. Could be a potential here. Yes, we do have our last low coming in where? That was right around here at about 50,500. And we actually are making lower lows on RSI right now. So if you do see some bottoming action around 51,500, 52,000 bucks, that can start to transfer into our higher term timeframes. And I would start to look for, a little bit of a bounce, at the very least a bounce there, but very likely continuation on top of that too, to, back up towards 60,000 bucks if that would happen. But for right now, it's still kind of far away, and we don't even have a local low confirmed to begin with. And this is not gonna work like that anyways in its current posturing. It'd at least take another like half day to a day at the very fucking earliest. So with all of that in mind, lower term timeframes again do point a little bit further south. I would be looking for bounces again between about 51,500 to 52,000 bucks. God damn it! Turn off the fucking sink. You're banned. Why are you not responding? You're canceled. You think it's funny to rape 90-year-olds, so you're canceled. How about that? She was laughing about that last night. Mark, Mr. Plums, that is disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Elsa's a very bad... Oh, it's funny. You don't have a grandma, obviously. Anyways, we also do see the 200 simple on the 4-hour down around the 200. We do see the 200 simple down around that $51,500 territory as well. So I do like that area essentially, at least for some wicking action and a potential local low action, at least on the short-term timeframes. Very likely does transfer onto the medium-term timeframes, and I would be looking for bounces maybe over the next couple days back towards 56,000 bucks. So that is multi-$1,000 move, $4,000 to $5,000 off that territory. And I do rather like that, to be fair. Let's go to the medium-term timeframes here. Or actually, before we do that, let's get through all the short-term timeframes. Short-term timeframe right here, 3 hours, basically the same thing as a 4-hour. Even has the same moving averages and the exact same fucking posturing. Wow, how does that work, sir? Bi-hourly, same thing. Literally the same fucking thing. Actually, that is uncanny. And hourly, yeah, very, very similar posturing here as well. And all of them do look a little bit more poised for a little bit more downside continuation. So on the same territory here, what would be a good signal of inherent short-term, medium-term, long-term bullishness? Well, of course, as we did say, higher term timeframes, nothing's really changed there as long as Bitcoin's above about 45,000 bucks. That's not very helpful though, because that's literally almost 10,000 bucks away from current price action. And I'm sure that, over leveraged fucks on Binance doing 125x, which is just absurd, is probably not going to survive a death drop like that. So what would change things around here? For myself on the short and medium term timeframes, well, 58,000 bucks was the pivot to the downside on the short and medium term timeframes. It will still be the pivot to the upside as well. So as long as we're below there, I'm not looking for any sort of continuation of trend here on the higher term timeframes to those next macro targets at about 69,000 bucks, with the areas of interest around 66, or yeah, I think it was about 66,000 bucks. And by the short term, and by the same token, if we were looking at the very, very short term, I'd use $55,000 again as a short term pivot to the upside, which can be mediated by a 2 or 4 hour closure. So with that said, again, short term still very much down, but I'd use those two pivots, basically the same pivots that we saw on the way down, on the same way up, and they have essentially the same implications, just inverted, I suppose. So with all of that said, let's go to the medium term time frame, see what they're looking like right around here. Oh, what do you know? The same 55 fucking exponential moving average coming in right around that goddamn $52,000 target, or sorry, $51,500 target, same shit basically. And we do see momentum oscillators also pointed southwards as well, and coming all the way down actually to the edge of the bullish control zone. So it could be that we actually, if we do start to see some bottoming action within that region, that'd be a damn good signal here. Also, daily SOS coming down to test the critical zone. That is usually going to bounce on first pass as well, and we are also kind of hitting the 21 exponential moving average here. So could it be that Bitcoin does try to bounce from its current posturing? Could be. What would be the early indication of that? Well, I'd still use $55,000. I don't think right now is the time to be aggressive on the short term. I really don't. Letting this one kind of unfuck itself for a little bit is at least the way that I kind of look at it as of the current moment. Buy daily, what are we looking at right here? A little bit of lost momentum right now, but technically not crossing the downside just yet. Did we see anything on RSI? No, not really. Two-day Jewel is gonna maybe be a little bit problematic there, but not quite just yet. I want to see that actually turn down. So before someone fucking asks that question, because I know it's coming, man. I know it's fucking coming. I wouldn't say so just yet. And the 3-day over here as well is actually, all but confirming 1, 2, 3 drives of bearish divergence coming off the highs. Now the 3-day is a little bit more concerning to me as well. I mean, this could very easily turn into a sell signal here. I would like to see them all have one more continuation drop down. And I believe we actually do have a new open tonight. Yes, we do have a new open tonight. So that'd actually be really, 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 really important to actually keep an eye on, because your natural target, if that does get ticked off, is going to be the 21 exponential average down here, which is somewhere around about, it's probably going to rise up to like $47,000 if I had to guess. Anyways, that should also bring up the next topic of conversation. Well, I don't necessarily think that it's going to happen like today, or it might not even happen at all. But if it were to happen, probably does happen, maybe a little bit later this week. What would be the next sort of major level to be aware of to the downside? Well, $51,500 right here. Any sort of a 2-hour or 4-hour closure below there, and I would extend targets down to the next major level, which is going to be around $47,500 to $48,000 as we can just thrust in a nice little horizontal right here in this accumulation zone. And that actually is where I would really love to get a potentially even long-term trade if it were to happen. No promises on that one though. I do think that Bitcoin could potentially put in a low at 51,500 first, and I would give that one a chance first and foremost, of course. Anyways, I think I've gotten through most of the things that I want to talk about here. Maybe we take a quick look at traditional markets, and then we'll get back to that earlier question. I haven't forgotten about you, sir. Let me just see if I can still pull it up. I can, so that's good. All right, awesome, Mr. Fox and Hound. But yes, I do want to check out traditional markets, because again, they all do move together. And what do we see? NASDAQ following through. We did say yesterday on the late day wrap-up video, very likely to follow through with the rest of the markets, very likely to target up to about 13,300. I mean, that's what we're seeing right now. Whenever you see something like this, a little bit of a little bit of drama around, especially two major moving averages that were actually going to have a bearish collision right there, that is usually a damn good signal. When you see something like this, very specifically like this, that it's going to run the other way, at least a good amount. And in this case, I would still be sticking with that 13,300 target. And that does bode well, because guess what? SPY futures and Dow Jones all making new all-time highs, as we said was likely yesterday. And guess what? Dow Jones right here leading the fucking party. And I would still be having that 33,150 target right here. But that's not a big one. The big one is 33,750-ish region. So I'd be looking for maybe a short-term pullback off this region right here. But again, this does bode well for basically all markets. So I do find it very, 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 very inherently difficult to get bearish on Bitcoin when we see world markets or the world major indices, essentially in blue sky breakouts, price discovery, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's the same thing. It's fucking bullish, man. It's fucking bullish. So picking that up onto SPY futures as well. Guess what? New all-time highs. I mean, what did we say yesterday? Very likely a retest prior all-time high, and then very likely new all-time highs. That's kind of exactly what we've got. In fact, don't mean to say, I don't mean to come off as like fucking arrogant or something like we predicted it. No, it's just, look, just an easy play right there. Okay. And I would still be sticking with a little bit over $4,000 target, anywhere between about 40.10 to 40.30ish region is where I'd be looking towards, and probably short-term pullback from there. So again, running with the assumption that these markets are still very much correlated, which they are. I know that fucking cryptocurrency moon boys, or crypto cultists, as Peter Grant lovingly calls him, which I think is hilarious. Hate that fact, but that is the history of these markets. I mean, everything's kind of connected with each other. We're all one, sirs. We're all just floating through this space on a rock, man, or whatever the fuck that saying is. Doesn't matter. You know what the fuck I mean. Rising tide lifts all ships, and I actually do truly believe that. You know, I guess in some ways I'm a fucking hippie in some cases, but I actually do believe that. And in this case, not only can we just show that, we actually have like another 11-year history of all these markets being very correlated. Bitcoin, that being with major indices, especially Nasdaq. And by the way, Nasdaq is the laggard of all these, and Nasdaq obviously, you know, holds the financials and the techs, which Bitcoin can maybe even fit into both those slots. I think it fits more with the tech sector, as it seems to trade better with that. But more importantly, this one was the laggard of them all, and so I'd be looking for Bitcoin to do something somewhat similar. You can see it kind of be brought down to those major moving averages. Bitcoin, same thing over here as well, and very likely does try to put in a low after that. And I would be looking for it to join the rest of the markets, because we're seeing rotations right now. Nasdaq was leading pretty much the whole fucking time for the last few years. Now Dow Jones is leading a little bit. How long does that go on for? Don't know. But more importantly, you know, we're going to see that rotation likely just lift all the ships up, and Bitcoin likely trades with Nasdaq here. So a little bit on the laggard side, but ultimately I do look for it to kind of follow through as well. Anyways, all right, that's all that I want to talk about. Let's get to Fox and Hound's question. I haven't forgot that one. Can you give a brief description of how you use shorter term timeframes versus higher? Okay, how do I use shorter term timeframes versus higher? Well, first off, I need more context on that question, because I don't know, like, use them versus, I just use them. Like, what do you mean? What exactly do you mean by that would be my first question. But if I had to interpret your question in the way that my brain works, I guess what I would be thinking is, like, what sort of... Actually, no, I have no idea what the fuck you mean by that. To be honest with you, okay, how would you use shorter term timeframes versus higher? Well, shorter term, like, I don't use them any differently, if that's what you're asking. The same sort of like technical knowledge on short term timeframes typically generally applies to high term timeframes as well. It's just it's going to have a less statistical chance to actually play out those signals that you're getting on short term timeframes versus higher term timeframes. Higher term timeframes collecting more data, less variance within that versus lower term timeframes. So to kind of put it another way, if you're looking at a 5-minute, for example, and you get like let's say, just for example, a bullish divergence signal there on a 5-minute, and you then get a bullish divergence signal on, or a bearish divergence signal on a daily, which one's more likely to play out? The daily. The daily is more likely to play out. Higher term timeframes do have a higher hit rate, is essentially what I'm saying. Anyways, we'll move on through it now, because I think that's what you mean. I'm not so sure. Anyways, we're all in the human tribe. We are all in the human tribe, man. That's something that we forget a lot of the time. You know, you have to wish even your enemies well, because you have to also understand, you know, if things were better for them, they probably wouldn't be your fucking enemy, huh? Anyways, let's see. Trading with Me says they say roughly $25 to $40 billion will be put into the crypto market on Wednesday. Who's they, and how the fuck do they know? Why are these terms never goddamn defined? Whenever someone says they, I always want to just say, hey man, give me a fucking name here. You can't just say they. It's the boogeyman. They is the boogeyman. Look, if you don't say if you say they without an operative term, you're talking about the goddamn boogeyman. I fucking hate that shit. I'm sorry. I really do hate that shit. I'm not saying that I hate you. You sound like a very lovely person, but goddamn it, man. Drop the goddamn they. If you can't define they, then it does not matter. It's a story. Leave that to the crypto media and crypto news channels, because that's, you know, fun nighttime stories to tell your scared little traders. But at the end of the day, man, what matters most is what happens on here. This is a very easy to read. Well, I wouldn't say necessarily very easy to read, but this is the most streamlined way to read, at least in my opinion, what people are actually fucking doing. This is showing actual buys and sells here. It's just conglomerating it into a chart format versus, you know, we could also just look at the market mover tab over here too. These things actually matter. Who the fuck are they? Doesn't matter. These don't come with names here. It doesn't come with fucking names. And do you think that they are broadcasting their positions, bless you, sir, broadcasting their positions to like the world so that the world can counter trade them and know exactly what they're doing? No, it would be the same thing as like a fucking president during World War II saying, look, we're gonna do X, Y, and Z. We're gonna invade on this date. We're gonna come in through Normandy. We're gonna bomb the shit out of you, and we're gonna fuck your mothers. Like, no, you wouldn't do that, because it's not very wise. In fact, if anything, it's probably like someone you refer to as psyops. Now, someone actually made a really good Twitter post on this yesterday. I want to bring it up and I want to give him credit. I think his name was CL. Where was it? I retweeted it here somewhere. Let me bring it up really quick. All right, where's this guy? Yeah, there it is. All right, so I retweeted it on Twitter here. I'll bring it up really quick. CL207. So shout out to him. I think he was also replying to Lex Muskows. Lex, he replied to Lex. There we go. Yeah. So, a lot of people are making a big deal about this. If, the whales are going to sell. It's like we saw a major transfer. Look. Here's a fucking deal with miners, and this applies to a lot of things, and people don't even understand why the fuck futures were brought on to begin with. By the way, futures were brought on to begin with so that people could fucking use them to hedge, just so you know. Anyways, miners can sell and hedge in countless ways. Yes, 100% true. They literally get paid money to sell on futures. Not always true, but in this case, yes. They can hedge on options, absolutely. They can also go to trading in OTC desks, which will never fucking show up in even this chart over here, by the way, although it will tangentially because, it is all kind of related, and someone does need to, take the other side of that trade. Obviously, it has to come from somewhere, yes. But the thing is that his next point is really fucking profound. Imagine thinking miners are actively broadcasting it to you on a public fucking ledger, by the way. I mean, that's what Bitcoin is, a public immutable or an immutable public ledger, whatever the hell. So you can short before they sell. He just fucking nailed it right there. Fucking nailed it right there, man. If anything, I agree with both these guys. It may be a little bit of manipulation in a way to make people who think like they're fucking doing the chain analysis right, are going to be able to like front run these sorts of cells. No, you wouldn't do that, man. You wouldn't do that, obviously. Anyways, let me pull up these other chatties over here. I see you, Filson. I see you, Mr. Filson. He's here. Fuck yeah, man. All right, let's see. Nero Strutin says, Brosif. Hello, Nero Brosif. Can we look at BAT, basic attention token? Most of these shitcoins basically follow Bitcoin's price action. Thanks, bro. Okay, yeah, sure. Let's see. BAT. You didn't give a base parent on it, so I'm just going to go with US dollar here. I'm curious to see how this one's done. This one is a 2017, 2016 shitcoin, so I imagine it's going to have a lot of history. And let's see if the history is good or not. Yep, making new all-time highs, closing on fresh new all-time highs, by the way, last week. I'm bullish on this thing, man. I'd be bullish on this thing for a while. Probably going to hit the same sort of moves that we've seen most of these ones that have been going under long-form accumulation for. We can just make a quick little measure move on this, and I'd be having a target somewhere around $1.25 to $1.20 region. Very likely in a markup phase right here. You see a bit of a change in volume, although this is Binance bullshit, of course. But yes, this thing more or less I'm bullish on, especially as long as it remains above about 60 cents or so. I'd be having that 120, 125 target. Looks more or less good after what is this, like 3 years long? Yeah, 3 years long of accumulation. So fair enough on that one. Jeremy Shulman says, Krown, you know how I know you're gay? I don't know, maybe because I'm gay for TA? Your girlfriend is a sir. Also, Avex. Yes, my girlfriend calls me sir, and I call her sir, and her friends are like, we had a party, I don't know. Oh, we didn't have a party. We had like a get together. Was it last weekend? No, it was the weekend before that. And we talk like that to each other, and like my girlfriend's friends don't understand. They don't understand because they're fucking Finnish for one, and they also they just don't understand. Why do you call each other sir? I don't know, sir. Also, AVAX BTC Daily Binance. Gotcha. AVAX. What is this? Is this like an anti-vaxxer coin or some shit? AVAX for your vaccinations on the blockchain. Yeah, I just said the magical words there. Not much history here, to be fair. I'm a little bit hesitant to give an opinion on this one, just because there's not a whole hell of a lot here, and the information that we do have is. I mean, the information that we do have leads me to believe that this is a long-term pump and dump, yes. But short-term, is it likely to rally off this level? Probably, yeah. It looks like it is putting a base above that last sort of what is this, like an IPO dump region. As long as it's right in this trend line right here, I look for it to kind of level out and probably give another try back up towards 64,000 Satoshis. If it does break this level, though, I'd look for a big retracement all the way down to this past prior level right here, which is 32,500 Satoshis region. Alrighty, moving on. Let's see what else we got. Oise Al-Masari says, appreciate posts. All good, man. CWRK stock. Ooh, we got a stock. Fuck yeah. God damn, finally, man. CWRK. Let's see, currency work. What the fuck? This isn't a goddamn stock. Hey, man, what the fuck? This trades OTC. This is no better than crypto bullshit. Let's see what we have over here, though. All jokes aside, same thing as the chart that we just looked at. Very, very similar here. We don't have a whole hell of a lot of history. Obviously, someone knows something that we, or perhaps just I don't know, in the sense that this thing doesn't trade for like months on end, years on end. Actually, I mean, you literally see like multiple days of just no trading, pretty much, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere. Let's just mark this bitch up. Now, clear reaccumulation. Yes, this very likely does trade higher. In this case, short term probably has a little bit of downside movements. I wouldn't be surprised to see another move back down a little bit below $2, but ultimately, I'd be looking for this one to continue its uptrend. I mean, you don't really see anything that's too shaky here just yet. A little bit of bearish. Actually, looks pretty damn similar to Bitcoin's chart, to be fair, as far as the weekly goes, but. I'd be looking for a little bit of short-term down, long-term up here, at least for the information that we have. I don't feel too confident on something that has this amount that trades on OTC. This is kind of like insider shit, it looks like to me. BNT, long-term, medium-term. Okay, what's BNT? That is a crypto, Bancor, Bank Derp. Where did that one come from? All right, Bancor USD, Bank Derp. So I feel about a lot of these altcoins. The fucking derp coin over here, huh? Let's see, probably a little bit of a short-term bounce off this level. However, is this versus US dollar? Yeah, so it probably does still have a little bit of downside in line with Bitcoin. How far down can we go? I'd be looking at a retest of the last prior high at about $6.50 and probably tries another higher low somewhere around there, similar to Bitcoin, I'd imagine. Now, on the weekly, does it look toppy, to be fair? It does look a little bit toppy. There actually are more topping signals here than there are on Bitcoin, to put it bluntly. So, I'd first be looking for next move down, essentially. I'd be looking for next move down, probably somewhere around that $6 to $6.50 high region right here. And then give it a chance to bounce and come back to it after that. I don't really have a strong opinion on it. More than that, again, this is, it's still a pretty shitty cryptocurrency chart, to be fair. I mean, look, I don't like anything that does this for a long period of time. And then out of nowhere, when the rest of the market's strong, just decides to go up with everything else. It's not like it's not strong on its own. That's my point. It's kind of like in the middle of the pack in terms of relative strength. Hey, what's up, JR? Hey, Krown. ENJ USD. Sure, man. Finally correcting. Yeah, man. I saw that one like multiple times on the top 10 best coins on the app. Like consistently for maybe like a week or so. It's just, like double-digit percent gains every fucking day. Yeah, that's this rally right here, apparently. What are we looking at right here? So you're saying a little bit of a pullback. Yep, we do see, oh my God, this is quite the rally. This is really fucking impressive right here. Really fucking impressive. Now this one exceeded pretty much all my targets to the upside. So a little bit of a pullback here would certainly be in order. I believe that we did look at this one the last couple days. It's like, yeah, could it have another drive to the upside here? Yes, but ultimately this is really the time to be more, what's it called? At least in my opinion, conservative and be looking for, greater pullbacks. I do think that it pulls back more on top of this. Very likely does make a run down somewhere right around $2 at the very least, maybe even a little bit lower than that. That's where I'd be looking for next sort of bounce ranges here. Lower term time frames actually not as bad, but we do have a 4-hour jewel sell signal, and I do favor that. So I'd be looking for further continuation to the downside here, somewhere like between about $1.90 to $2 is where I'd be looking for on the next leg, and then probably does try a bounce from there. And then we'll come back and analyze the bounce. But we see all kind of divergences here. We even see jewel sell signals, and we see daily, looking a little more toppy here too. Although no bearish divergence, to be fair, on this one. So yeah, sometimes these altcoins they just do weird things. But I do look for the short term, medium term to be downside there. Alrighty, let's see what else do we got here. See new 510 says Krown bro, new bro. Me and my girlfriend broke up today. What, bro? Are you telling me you're not gay for TA and you're having girlfriends? What the fuck is this shit? You're out! Get him out! Not gay for TA! Can you look at LMYUSD? Yeah, we can actually. Apparently it's on Finex, so. Toppy as fuck. Toppy as fuck. Toppy as fuck. Toppy sloppy. I'd be looking for this one to trade back down to like low 4-cent region for 4.5 to 4.30ish. 4.5 to 4.30ish. Long term could be okay still. Could be okay long term, but I do look for next move down. Weekly, same thing. Little bit of downside. If it wants to test back down somewhere around low 4-cent, I'd be looking for bounces around there. Long term, it's okay. It's okay. And my sincere apologies for your loss of love there. Earth is flat like an ostrich nest. Earth is flat like an ostrich nest. A little thank you from Stinky Linky. Hey man, fuck yeah! I haven't heard Link called out in like a few days, so it might be time to go look at it. You know me as buy the fucking dip. Ah, nice one. Hey, there it is. And happy anniversary to you as well. So I'm guessing that's a clever way of looking for a link analysis. Link I still like here, still a just very long-term uptrend. This one's been up pretty much throughout all phases of the market cycle, whether Bitcoin's down, whether Bitcoin's up. This one just goes up over the long period of time. Now, short-term, medium-term, does this one have more downside here? Could look for another run somewhere down around 24 and a half bucks, but I'd be looking for bounces there. I do happen to think that this one is likely being reaccumulated within this region, but does have some short-term downside. Long-term, I don't really have any real reason to look for this to stop just yet, but I do favor a move down, actually maybe even to the weekly 21, more medium-term. So 24 bucks, probably bounce there. Continuation at 22 bucks, possible, but I would be looking for potential lows within that region. I don't really have a reason to believe that this one's stopping long-term. Here's what the monthly looks like as well. A little bit more toppy there to be fair, but momentum also is turning back up here too. Looks more or less good over the long period of time. So yeah, I do still like it long term at least for now. But short term, medium term, probably some downside included there. Yes, can I help you?
Tara wants you to put the sound effects away.
Tara would like the sound effects to go away. Good morning, Tara. Tara, is that a girl? Is that a fucking girl in this cave? No girls allowed! Sean R says, Chili's, US... I'm just kidding, Tara. You can stay. It's 2021, you know? We have to be inclusive. I read a story last night from the Los Angeles Times, by the way. I read a story last night. I need to share this with everyone. All right, look. I read a story last night from the Los Angeles Times that hiking is now racist. And I'll tell you why. It's right fucking here. Long-time oppression and historical barriers have kept many people of color from feeling comfortable in the American outdoors. I fucking feel uncomfortable there too. There's bears and shit. The fuck? What the fuck? I showed that to Elson. She thought it was like a satire. I don't know. Okay, look.
It's not real.
I think it's more racist to like refer to people as like the black community. Like, what the fuck? We're just a community, man. We're all the same. Hey, let's maybe not draw artificial barriers around each other. So fucking weird. So fucking weird. Yeah. All right, Chili's USDT 4-hour and daily. All right, let's check it out. CHZ USD Binance 4-hour and daily. No problem, sire. Daily down. Be looking for a move to about 44 cents. 4-hour down. 4-hour down. I'd be looking for a bounce, maybe in between there, somewhere around about 45.5 cents first, and then continuation probably down to 44 cents, and then probably try a daily bounce somewhere around there. Short term, medium term down. Long term. Long term, I mean, I don't hate this chart long term. This is a pretty damn good chart long term. I mean, this is continuation volume here on the whole. So fair. Long term still bullish, but short term, medium term, maybe a little bit of downside there. Hiking is racist. Fuck, man. God damn it. So there's like Asians for hiking. Like, what the fuck? Like, what the? I mean, look, I'm not trying to be insensitive here. It's just I feel like that's more racist. Like drawing these boundaries between people. Like, why can't we just be all the same? Why can't we just be all the same? What the fuck, man? Is that maybe that's racist to say? I don't know. All right, let's see. Did I miss anything there? Okay. All right. I think I did miss something. No. Okay. Okay. We got that one. Yes, we got that one. Nice. Okay. Where's the last one? Yep. Chili's. Okay. We just got that one. Dr. Bitcoin says, greetings, Krown. Greetings, doctor. We have a doctor in the house. Any other recommended readings beside the two listed in your video descriptions? Happy anniversary, sir. Happy anniversary to you too. Yeah. So, as far as reading goes, I actually really don't do too much reading, like specifically towards trading, because I don't think that like you can learn a whole hell of a lot from reading like trading books. At least I didn't really have too much success with that, because first and foremost, like any strategy that's like plastered in a fucking book that costs, you know, no more than $100, that's going to be nullified by the time that is printed. And second off, while you can learn the fundamentals there and some good, you know, baseline stuff, that's good, obviously, but you know, anything more complicated than that is going to require a lot more hands-on type stuff. So when I made the TA program, for example, I actually initially was going to write it out, and then I figured this is going to be impossible to do because there's just so many nuanced situations that you can't address. You know, in very dry text with just pictures, because it's changing, it's evolving, it's morphing. So for the most part, I don't read books on trading. There is one other book that I would suggest with regards to trading psychology and slight sort of what's it called, strategies, although not really, and that would be Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. He has a couple books. He has a Discipline Trader as well. I found all of his work really, really useful. He also has several seminars on YouTube, which you can view at any time. I believe he's also dead, so he's the late and great. Really fucking great guy, and very consistent with what I've experienced myself, and very consistent with what I've found to work for myself as well. So I'd strongly suggest that. Other than that, man, I actually read a lot of books on like evolutionary psychology and stuff to like try to understand my fucked up brain and why, you know, sometimes I have issues with like accepting why I might be wrong on a trade, for example. Like that's very helpful to me, but that's also specific, so it might be relevant, might not be relevant to you. But I can suggest that book is really, 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 really helpful, and I think that a lot of people have found that book incredibly useful as well. Opus Simpson says, great stream, sir. Could you look at CHC? We just did, so I'm guessing this is just a little bit of a later one, but if you want to look at it again, we can check it out, I guess. Keenan Bryn says, I remember Tezos. Yeah, Tezos looked pretty strong long term. Can you look at it long term, as dead as it looks? Happy that Else is feeling better. Me too, man. XTZ USD. Let's see what we have here. God damn it, not the fucking dishes again. Let's see. You will not be able to do anything because you are a woman. And sorry, let me explain that. The reason why you wouldn't be able to do that is because you're weak. And, well, I am strong, and you would not be able to hurt me. And that's how I talk to my girlfriend when she threatens me. Any comments? Just kidding, guys. It's the way that we joke around. That's all. Okay, whoa, she's like throwing shit at me now. Okay, all right, so maybe I take that back. Instantly regret saying that. All right, let's see what we got going on over here. Tezos, nope, I still do like it long term. I still like a long term. I mean, you still see a long term uptrend here going back from 2019 for all the data that we do have. Short term, however, I imagine it's with the rest of the market, short term sideways and down. Wouldn't be surprised to see it make another stab towards like 340, 345 region, and probably try another bounce from there. So long term, I do like it. Yes. Short term, very similar to other things. A little bit of sideways, a little bit of downside. So it depends what time frame that you're looking at here. You said long term. I actually still like it long term. Yes. Let's see, what else do we got, baby? What else do we got? God, okay, seriously, those fucking forks are goddamn annoying. What?
Just admit you hate women. It's not about the
I don't hate women. I love women. All right, there we go. Thanks for that, Alex, but feel free to leave a message, man. Okay, there we go. There's the message. Can you please take a look at Matic? Sure. I don't remember the specific ticker for this, but I figure if I just type in Matic, it'll plop on up there. Matic versus Tether. Yeah, Binance, we can check this one out. Short-term, a little bit of downside. Daily, a little bit of downside. I'd be looking for a short-term bounce at around 33.5 cents. Probably continuation lower, though. Daily target, after a little bit of a bounce, likely going to be down to about 28.5 cents. Long-term, though, I don't hate it. Yeah, long-term, I'd be looking for continuation. You know, these are very similar to Bitcoin here. Short-term, medium-term, a little bit of sideways, a little bit of downside. Long-term, I'm still looking for continuation here. Wouldn't be surprised to see this one make new all-time highs sometime in the next month, actually, similar to Bitcoin. Maybe in the next couple of weeks. What's up, Yasek? I see you over there. How you doing, man? Mark Ty says HYLN. Please, Mr. Krown, this technology truck sales company. Okay. All right. HYLN. Is that popular nowadays? HYLN. Hillion. Okay. What the fuck? Hey man, I think your I think your trucks have an issue. This is not good. This is not good at all. Trades on SIPO, so it can't be like too shitty, but the chart would say otherwise. Yeah, pretty damn bad here. Long term, I'd look for the downtrend to continue. Does it have short term rallies in between there? Perhaps yes. Perhaps short term back up to like 15.5 bucks, but long term, I'd look for continuation to the downside here. More importantly. Maybe look for some bottoming action somewhere around like 10.5 to 11 bucks. I don't like this one, man. No, not at all. Short term probably does play out a bit more of a bounce, though. However, Infinity and Beyond says nearly 90,000 USD tied to Neo USD. Short midterm, is that your position? You have nearly 90,000 USD, or is that like I read this on Twitter that there's nearly 90,000. It's like, man, that's. Neo sounds like it's fucked then. I'm guessing that's maybe your position. Very respectable. Let's see. Neo USD, short term, medium term. Man, people even trade this thing still. Short term, downside. Medium term, I'd be looking at a daily here. Downside. I'd be looking for some potential bottoming action somewhere around 35.5 bucks. Weeklies, okay, maybe. I don't really favor this one. I don't favor this one in the plethora. Hello, why are you giving me the mean look, sir?
Saving this for later?
Yeah, I am saving that for later. Could you not throw it away, actually? Anyways, okay, so now that she's gone, all right, so fuck her. Let's see. We do have. I mean, do we have anything that's? Oh, you heard that? Okay. Well, I meant someone else. All right. So now that we can move on from that. I would be looking for a little bit of short-term downside, a little bit of medium-term downside. But I do think, long-term, is it likely to join the rest of the market? Yes, it is likely to join the rest of the market. Whoa! Hey, look at this. I found a shirt. Thank you for handing that to me. Anyways, long term, does this one deserve respect in the plethora of shitcoins out there? No, I don't think so. It's not relatively strong, maybe not necessarily relatively weak as well, but it's relatively on the medium side as far as that goes, kind of like the Goldilocks of shitcoins here. Long term, does it continue to the upside? Probably yes. Short term, medium term, do we have some downside? Also probably yes. I'd be somewhat bullish again back above about 44.5 bucks. So I'd still be waiting for that. Short term, I'd be looking for a little bit of downside. Momentum also is pointed down across the board here. Daily, I think weekly as well. Yeah, weekly is kind of flip-flopping around there. Actually doesn't even like to stay above that region pretty much ever in its history. As you can see, just one small stint here in August, September of 2020. All right. Thanks for that, Mr. Rubio. But do you have a message there? Let's see. Harmony 1. Okay, what the fuck is Harmony 1? All right. Harmony. What the fuck is this thing? Harmony 1. 1 US. Oh, this is gonna be real good. Real fucking good. Toppy as fuck. Short term, and medium term downside. I'd be looking for a move down to like 5 3/4 cents, somewhere down around here. Maybe even continuation possible lower as well. Big volume climax on the high yesterday. I think you've seen the highs for a little bit of time. This is going to be accompanied very likely by bearish divergence. If you see today's closure below yesterday's low, extremely likely you're going to see a big pullback down to about just below 5 cents at the very least, and maybe even lower than that. But I'd wait for today's closure. Long term, is it okay? It could be okay long term. I mean, this thing is, would be relatively strong. Like, juxtapose this against, let's say, what was that last little shitcoin that we just looked at? Neo, right? Well, Neo is nowhere near making its, making new all-time highs. This one's obviously in blue sky breakout territory, so it does deserve a little bit more respect. It is certainly on the relatively strong side of the equation here, but short-term, medium-term, I do think that it comes down alongside most other things too. Let's see. VK says Bitcoin daily RSI triangle actionable if breakout. Okay, so you're looking at daily RSI and you're looking at a triangle there. Okay, first things first. Do we actually have a triangle on the daily RSI? I'd say no, we don't. I'm guessing you're doing something like this. You're probably going like this. Okay, fair enough. And then you're going something like this, right? Well, could that work as a triangle? It could work as a triangle, but you usually want to see your extremes first on the top side of the trend, or sorry, on the side of the trend. So in this case, that would be the top, and that would mean that you'd want to see this actually be the first one. So maybe you're pulling it back from here, but that actually wouldn't work because that's your $42,000 high. Yes, that's not the same sort of drive right here. So I'd have to respectfully disagree with that to begin with. I'd have to respectfully disagree with that. I don't think that there is one in here. What I do look here, or sorry, what I would be looking for is actually hidden bullish divergence to denote the next major local low, and that would actually naturally break your triangle to the downside. So you'd literally be getting short as it likely does bounce, which is probably not what you want to do, I'm guessing. So fair enough on that one. I wouldn't look at it as such, to put it bluntly. I wouldn't look at it as such. Stay hairy and fluffy, my friend. Hairy and fluffy as fuck, man. Hairy and fluffy as fuck, I suppose you could say. All right, what else we got? Dan Henderson, what's up, Dan? Krown, hello, Danzer. MVIS, NASDAQ. All right, we got some real stocks here. MVIS, okay, what could this be? Microvision, all right, on NASDAQ. Yep, bouncy bounce time. And this is kind of what I'm talking about right here. Hidden bullish divergence coming off the low. I'll be looking for this one to continue the bounce overall. Next targeted region would be about 21 and a quarter. Long term, would I be looking for continuation? You're goddamn right, I would. This is a clear change of behavior right here long term. Now, to be fair, what the fuck is going on? Way the hell back. Obviously something happened here. Like we had a major fundamental shift, but this is generational volume. This is this is change of behavior volume. So, you know, the reversal is real, getting back above, you know, critical areas as well, more importantly. So short term, you know, do we see a little bit of downside? I actually didn't give a time frame on that, I don't think. Short term, maybe a little bit of downside. If it came back down to like 15 and a half to like 15.75, I think that'd be okay. Doesn't really change anything for me. Long term though, I'd be looking for continuation. It looks good. It looks good. And if it came down to like 12 and a half, that would actually be a gift, I do believe. But is this one ready to do something like that? I don't know. Lower term time frames look good to me. I wouldn't be surprised to see it actually continue from here. In fact, okay, cool. All right. Okay, John Johnson has a really good question here. If you could only use 3 indicators to trade with forever, which 3 would you pick? Huh, bruh? Okay, which indicators what would be the 3 indicators that I'd pick first and foremost? Okay, so this would be excluding price action, because look, you can trade straight up price action. There are plenty of people who can do that. ICT is a really good guy for that. I would strongly suggest checking him out, which would mean you need no indicators. You just literally need the price action on your screen. That's you know, that can definitely be done. We have a couple guys in the Discord who are definitely on that. Penyuf, to give him a shout out, he's really fucking good with that, and there's definitely a lot of validity to it. So technically speaking, do you need any indicators? No, you don't. But if I personally had to pick 3 indicators to use for the rest of my life, assuming that I had to use them, I'd use moving averages. I just have the most experience with that, so I feel the most comfortable with it. I can do a lot with that. I'd probably pick Stokes, and I'd probably pick RSI. Maybe I'd include volatility in there if I'm trading options, but if I'm just trading spot price action, which I'm guessing you're probably talking about, then it'd be that, you know, those 3. If I was trading options, then it'd have to be something volatility based as well. I don't know, maybe throw some Trollander bands in there. Maybe come up with some sort of indicator that essentially plots like momentum versus volatility. So you can kind of come up with that if I was trading options, but it depends what I'm trading first. So for myself, you know, it'd probably be moving averages, RSI, and Stokes. I just have the most experience with those. I'm not saying that they're the best indicators of all time. You know, if I was going to go back and learn indicators right now and knowing what I know, instead of learning the RSI, I'd actually go and learn the DMI. I think the DMI has more potential here. It's just I don't have as much experience with that. I've, you know, more than 10 years of experience with RSI versus, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 with ADX DMI. But I do think that there's more potential with ADX DMI to do shit. And if I could go back in time, would I learn the MACD more? No, probably not. I do like the MACD though, the more and more that I look at it, however. Anyways, Oktay Babayev says, "Sir, cake USD on Binance, please." I love cake, man. I fucking love cake. I love chocolate cake. I love anything that's chocolate, actually. So let's see. You don't give a fuck about that, though. Let's talk about some goddamn cake over here. Cake token for... Holy shit! Oh, fuck! We have a winner. We have a winner for Shittiest Chart of the Day award. Shittiest Chart of the Day award goes to... Cake US dollar on Binance. What do you get for your award? You get listed in the shitcoin jail of March 16th in the year 2021. Yeah, worst chart that we've seen all day, in fact. So while everything else is continuing on to either prior all-time highs or making new all-time highs, this thing is retesting prior all-time lows. In fact, this thing's never even known what a rally is, to be fair. You see a clear downtrend over a long period of time. You could probably even plot in some sort of a descending triangle in here. I wouldn't be surprised to see this one continue on to the downside long term. This is very, very concerning here. Does it bounce off this level first and foremost? Yeah, probably has another bounce off this level. Does it get sold back into around 11 and a half bucks? Probably yes. Does it continue downside long term? Also probably yes. I don't like it. Very, very bad. Very, very, like in a more sincere tone. I mean, this is very problematic here. This is a shit chart. This is by definition a shit chart. You know, compare that with a lot of the other charts that we've seen today. It's not even in the same fucking category. Very fucking bad. Very, very concerning when you see something like that not joining the rest of the market, especially when pretty much everything in their fucking mother is allowed to rally. That's really a bad sign. A. Lombardi says, DPW on ARCA. Nice. That's actually where I used to work. DPW. Okay, DPW on ARCA right here. And you said, got this around 130 based on weekly bottoming pattern in March. Any upside targets obvious to you on this ridiculous chart? Oh, baby, man, you fucking killed it. Oh, wait, hold on. No, hold on. Maybe you didn't kill it. Let's see. Did you kill it? Yeah, you did. You did. Wait, hold on. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did really, really well here, man. Extremely well done. Extremely well done. So you bought in somewhere right around here. You got into this rally a little bit. But is this one problematic long term? Look, man, whenever you see something like this, I don't know, maybe they had some sort of like a some sort of a split or reverse split, but do I think that it continues to the upside though? It probably does, yes. I mean, you do see a slew of higher lows here. You have a very obvious area to be kind of managing things off of, but you really have to be holding on to this as your last sort of higher low if you want to play the trend here, and that would be right around $3. So a very easy way to kind of manage below $3, of course. Where to be targeting towards. I mean, your natural target on something like this, if you are looking for the reversal, is going to be right here. If you are looking for the actual breakout play, well, you're probably playing this as a reaccumulation, and in that case, it's probably going to be somewhere where you just kind of visualizing it, somewhere back around here at about $90. But look, man, when this thing goes from fucking, okay, here's a real chart first and foremost. This is your real chart. This is like not a good sign, you know, just like that cake chart that we looked at. It's like anytime you see something like this, man, look, it just goes down. It just goes fucking down. Very, very bad chart long term, extremely bad chart long term. I don't know the underlying dynamics of what's going on in this one. Like, I'm sure there's like some sort of story, some sort of history, obviously, but you know, I wouldn't look for I wouldn't look for this one to like have some sort of generational pull through change, because it just has never done that for the entirety of its history, going all the way back to 1997. Look, if it's been a shitcoin chart since 1997, there's no reason to believe that it's changing around right here, right now. Could it do it? Yes. What would prove that it's actually doing it? Well, first and foremost, this level right here at about 11 and 75. If that condition was to be met, yeah, you can look for a move to about $50, maybe extend that to $100 over time. But I mean, you do see a bit of change of behavior down here. Yes. How much do I trust it? I just don't trust something that does this, man. That's obviously something else is going on there. Someone knows something that everyone else now knows too, and that is red dildo party has begun. Looks pretty fucking bad, man. But, you know, short term, medium term, does it have another try to the upside? Yeah, I suppose I could be on that same side, using $3 as a bit of a pivot there for changing my bias on that one, I suppose. Krown, remember the time you did 69-minute Bitcoin TA? Let's go. I mean, we can check it out, man. It's basically an hourly, so probably not gonna be too much different than an hour. But where is my time frames here? I guess I probably still have it on here. There we go. 69 minutes. Looks down. Looks a little bit of downside here, resting on the 377, but we've already kind of bounced off this and testing this one plenty of times. I mean, you see this bounce over here for about $1,000, or yeah, about $1,000. Basically on like an hourly signal, in hidden bearish divergence populating on the other side. Not the best. Not the best. But there you go, man. There you go. Jazz Mazu says Siacoin. Yeah, Siacoin was showing up on the top 10 gainer list right there today. Let's see what this one's up to. Again, a very, very long running coin here. So I'm curious to see how this one's done versus US dollar. Yeah, this one's pulling through as well. So, you know, again, in the context of the general market, this one's kind of following through in like the secondary category. So I guess it's like in the middle of the pack, so to speak. Do you have a weekly golden cross going on? Yes, good. We have a lot of history here. Technically speaking, higher lows on the macro, good. And I would be looking for this run to actually continue up towards just under 3 cents and find the next major pullback somewhere around about 3 cents, maybe a little bit under 3 cents perhaps. But I do actually favor it long term. What about like a daily's continuation right here? I actually favor this one medium term as well. And what about short term? Short term I favor it as well. Yeah, you have breakout volume right here. Bullish on all time frames, very likely to continue. Actually one of the more easy ones today. JR says Iman on LAC or and LAC. Email. I'm guessing this is some sort of a stock. Yes, it is. Arca Imagine. I've never seen this one. Yep, a little bit. Man, what the fuck is up with people finding these charts? Is this okay? Yeah, that is your coronavirus dump time. Okay, so this is actually a very interesting one to me because long term, obviously it is down, and this would be where you'd expect things to like kind of turn around if it was to continue the long term downtrend. So what does that mean? Well, let's first go to a monthly just to see where it's kind of postured right now. Okay, yeah. I would be looking for some toppy behavior anywhere between about 6.25 to 7-ish region. Does this one come back down ultimately? I think it kind of rides the general strength in the market. Short term, does it have a little bit of downside? Yes, but what you're looking at daily? Yeah, short term, I'd be looking for another move back down to like $4 even. Long term, I'd actually be looking for another try to the upside, somewhere around that next sort of major area. That's going to be just around $6, just around $6. And you said LAC as well. Okay, let's see what we got here. Symbol LAC, Lithium Americas Corporation. All right, trades on New York Stock Exchange. Long term up again. Hey, we have a good stock chart. Hey, nice one. All right, sweet. That's cool. Weekly, I'd be looking for it to probably retest back above about $20 region or so. Daily. Same thing. Daily actually good here as well. Short term probably back up towards like $19 or so. So overall okay. I mean, again, just like ones that only go fucking down, this one only goes up. So I don't really have any reason to change my opinion on this one for the time being, at least, as long as we have that information. But for now, I'd be looking for medium term upside there, and then maybe a little bit of drama right around that I don't know, $22.5 to $23 marker. But first things first, look for those targets and then come back to it. All right. Let's see. All right. Natalie Edwards says, oh, it's a lady. Hey, Krown, I've been watching you since 2017, 2018, and sorry. Everyone act cool. All right. Don't want to scare away the girls. And everyone sorry, Natalie, why? Okay, Natalie has an avatar of a guy. Oh, this is 2021 after all, so. Elsa says I'm a creep. You wanna come over here and give Daddy a little smack on the lips? Elsa, she really likes that. Have a sip of water. You look thirsty. I am thirsty. Also, this is the wrong time to be talking about that, Natalie. Check out Cardano USD on Binance 4-hour daily. All right, all jokes aside, let's get respectful and serious on this one. I don't want to be disrespectful to Natalie over here. 4-hour daily, okay. A little bit of short-term downside. 4-hour. I mean, we did hit our target from yesterday, right? That was just around $1. I'd probably be looking for this one to try a bounce here short term, but is this the long-term bounce that you're looking for? I don't believe so. No, I don't believe so. I do think that this one ultimately will come further down. So short term, 4-hour probably does bounce back up. How high does that bounce get? I mean, you have your downtrend coming in anywhere around about $1.10. And then I'd be looking for, any sort of a lower high signature right around there. I'd be looking for that to get sold into, and then probably does get marked down a little bit. Long term, I'm not bearish on this one though. I'm not bearish on anything that's making new all-time highs. Wouldn't be surprised to see it come down a little bit more though, towards about 90 cents, maybe a little bit below 90 cents, and then try a low structure there. But for long term, still good. I don't have any major issues with this one. Short term, probably does try a bounce. Medium term, a little bit of downside here. A7 says, oh man, that's actually a really clever way of doing that. A7. UBT, Unibright. All right, UBT. All right, Unibright. Oh, this, I got excited. It's ProShares. No, it's Unibright, the cryptocurrency on Bittrex and HitBTC, two debt exchanges that I didn't even know that they're still kind of rocking and rolling, to be honest with you. Actually okay here. Actually okay, getting reaccumulated right now. I'd be looking for daily to try back up. Maybe, let's see what the weekly looks like for now. Maybe the next couple of weeks back up to like what is this level here, about $1.30, or sorry, $1.35 to $1.40ish region, above $1.60, sorry, above $1.55. I'd actually be looking for continuation of new all-time highs though. Okay chart, you know, obvious accumulation over here, and then just getting marked up. So you know, I favor the uptrend. I respect the trend on this one, and I'd be looking forward to essentially continue. You know, maybe short-term does a little bit of downside. Yeah, short-term could easily have another move back down to like 112, but ultimately I would favor this one to the upside, more medium and long-term. APHA, short, medium term, than a 4-hour. Okay, so well, fair enough. Okay, hey, we got a stock. Nice one. Short term, 4-hour. Yep, I'd be favoring the upside here. I'd be looking for a move back up to about 25.5, 25 3/4. You didn't ask for long term, but I'll give you my stupid opinion on long term anyways. Continuation of new all-time highs. Actually, this is very fucking good on the daily. Hidden bullish divergence on this side. This is kind of what I was talking about earlier at the beginning of the stream. You have your bearish divergence on this side, gets resolved by hidden bullish divergence. That's your continuation signal right there. I'd be looking for this one to not just test like 20. What was it? Basically like $26. I'd be looking for this one to like retest probably highs and maybe make new all-time highs. Okay, all right, what else do we got, baby? What else do we got? John Johnson says, does Bitcoin volatility have to significantly reduce before true institutional adoption happens, and do you think it will? That's kind of like a chicken and the egg question, right? It's what's going to decrease the volatility is essentially a function of like how many people are involved in the market, because it's essentially just going to build up thicken the order books, which is going to make it so that, you know, price action has just less fucking whippy wappy action, to put it in like colloquial terms, I guess. So would I say that requires institutional adoption? It requires adoption. Does it need to be from institutions? It could be for, I mean, $1 billion is $1 billion. Now, who's more likely to have $1 billion? An institution, yes. So it, you know, does it need to happen that way? No. Is it likely to happen that way? Yeah. In practical terms, yes. So yeah. You know, you just want those order books to get a lot more thick. Because I mean, right now, like you look at fucking I don't know, Bybit, for example, or any one of these fucking 100x markets, and you'll notice that like the bid and the ask are barely fucking related to each other, and more importantly, there's barely any size there. And if you're really looking to fucking unload, you know, let's say like 10 Bitcoin, you can if you market that, you're probably gonna have like, I don't know, $20 to $50 slippage, which is kind of big, to be fair. Anyways, Dan says, magical unicorns, please. Uni USD. Okay, all right. This is Elsa's coin right here. There's a unicorn coin, by the way, in case you didn't know. Yeah, it's a unicorn. So do you like that better than the Ethereum now? All right. It's fucking, okay, fair enough. Short term down, I'd be looking for this one to test back down to like 26.25, 26.5. Yeah, no time frame involved in this one. Short term down, maybe even extend that down to like 23.5. But first things first, I'd look for that short term down, bounce around there, and then reassess after that. Then GRT, man, people, this one keeps on popping up often. Grosson's, or the graph. Yeah, the graph. That's right, the graph. HitBTC, Bittrex. Goddamn. Short term down. Short term down. I'd be looking for this one to pop back down to like 145 region. This one is putting a bit of a descending triangle at the highs, which actually can be a reversal formation. But first things first, I'd give it a chance to bounce off that level. Back above $2 and about 10 cents, I'd be bullish on this one. And just based off the general market, I'd probably be favoring the upside long term. So short term, a little bit of downside, give it a chance to bounce there, and then come back to it after that. Is kind of what I'd be looking at. Let's see. Okay, so actually you just got through everything, and we're an hour and 20 minutes in this. Nice. That's actually perfect timing, because it is almost my scheduled gym time. It's funny actually nowadays in Finland. I actually have to schedule in my gym time because there cannot be more than 10 people in the gym at one singular time. Otherwise, someone will definitely die. Elsa thinks that's funny. That's disgusting. You think death is disgusting? You think death is funny? Anyways, some Nifty analysis. All right, we'll look at Nifty. This is gonna be the last of the last one. Hey, is that Satan right there? Is that Satan? Longed rip nip ripped. Oh Jesus, Ripple. Where is Nifty? What did you say? Is that loose for Satan? Loose for Satan. Yeah, from Twitch. Nifty, I'd actually be this is continuation right here to me. This continuation, I'd be looking for this one to retest the highs at like 15,400 and probably continue. I actually like this one. Quite a fair bit. You're even having a bullish reset here on ADX DMI, and price action is just an uptrend. I mean, that's actually pretty damn good long term. All right, long drip nip. All right, we'll take a quick look at Ripple for Mrs. Elizabeth or Miss Elizabeth. Who knows? Let's see. Where is it? Ripple USD. Actually, versus USD looks good here. I'd be looking for a nice up move towards 63 cents actually, based off the weekly. What about the daily? Yeah, daily looks good. Yeah, I'd be looking for continuation, 63 to 64 cents region. Versus Bitcoin, downtrend. All right. Are we done? Okay. Not today, Satan. Not today, Satan. All right, so let's wrap this bitch up. Gonna be a short one today, actually, so good on that one. Okay, following from yesterday's short-term time frame analysis, we did see the $58,000 level broken, which did initiate that first target to $55,000 right here, bouncing up and gets sold into about $1,500 higher than that, and that is continuation, very much implied to our next downside target, somewhere around about $51,500 to $52,000, of which I do think that we're kind of looking at in motion right now. We still all lower-term time frame momentum also still pointed southwards. 4-hour Stokes right here, 3-hour Stokes right here, bi-hourly Stokes right here, and hourly Stokes flip-flopping a bit to the upside, but still following it down trend, as you can see in the short-term time frame. So I'd be looking for maybe one more drive to the downside, and very likely a bounce somewhere within this blue box territory, and bounce targets could be anywhere up to about $55,000. However, here's the thing: I cannot be short-term bullish on Bitcoin, essentially looking for continuation of trend here to those deeper 6,000 targets, which actually I am still looking at over the next probably like 2 weeks to a month, until Bitcoin gets back above the 2.618 extension, which is also synonymous with that $58,000 level to the upside. And still, the same levels that were relevant to the downside will be relevant to the upside, at least in the way that I look at things. So $55,000 still does matter right here, and then $58,000 right here. So short term, medium term, essentially. And I would still be, like I said, bullish on the long term. Make no mistake about it. The bi-weekly and the weekly, all higher term time frames, still very much bullish here. I really like this chart. In fact, I would not be surprised to see new all-time highs in the next 2 to 4 weeks, essentially. Just based off this right here, we could see that this week, this section is a bit of a consolidation, and then tries, over the next 2 weeks. So that would be, still, I don't know, within the next 3-4 weeks. But overall, I do still favor the upside long term. Short term, medium term, though, sideways and downside implied, $51,500, $52,000. Look for a bounce there, at least in the way that I look at things. Of course, it's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Blah 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 blah. That also does imply, while I'm not necessarily looking for it, at least on first pass, if Bitcoin does break below the $51,500 level right here on a 2-hour or 4-hour dildo, I would look for extension to the next major level, right around about $48,000. That's where I'd be looking for another major low. But for right now, a little bit of bouncy bounce on the extremely short-term time. See what the hourly looks like. Back up to the 10 simple. I don't know, just try to put in a low right here. I probably wouldn't be on the same side of that just yet. We do have some regular bullish divergence, however, which could be playing out right now. Yep, credit to Caretaker on this one. 1, 2, 3, and that would have a natural target right around about 55,500-ish region. But still, does that actually close above $55,000 on a 4-hour? As long as that condition's not met, I'm still looking for a little bit more downside, and then try a bit of a low. You see that all lower term time frame momentum oscillators are still essentially angled to the downside. In our medium term time frames, like our 12-hour and daily, while they're starting to show a little bit of bottoming action here, I would still give it some time. I don't think that there's any like major rush into position, at least for myself. Of course, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a financial derper, and in this case, we are starting to potentially show a little bit of hidden bullish divergence potential on the 12-hour. Still not there on the daily, so I really would like to see that before potentially calling for the next like confirmed low, so to speak. But it is in play, and of course, above $58,000, I would certainly get very bullish again. Above $55,000, I'd be short-term bullish, we could call it. But for now, I do favor short-term downside, medium-term, and long-term. A little bit of bottoming action, and long-term, obviously, continuation of the upside. Still looking at about a $69,000 target with a stop along the way at about 66, I think it was. Or maybe it was $65,000. Whatever extensions are coming at right here. Let's see. Yep, that would be about $69,000. at the 3 spot 618 there. So fair enough on that one. Anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure. I want to say a massive thank you once again. I know that there's a lot of jokes today. Hopefully didn't offend anyone too much. Understand, just having a good time here, just having a silly goose time, because, well, that's the way that you should be on a Tuesday on this middle of March. Elsa says, I hate women. I would never hate women. I only hate, well, I don't, there's no really point in like hating shit. All right. Anyways, besides this philosophical topics, let's get on with it. And I want to wish you well once again. Do I want to talk about sale? You already know about the sale. 20% off on all programs. Make sure to watch the videos. Make sure that's applicable to you. No, they are not magic pills. Yes, it will take a shit ton of work on your behalf, but yes, at the end of the day, you can do it. And we have seen a lot of really cool stories, especially over the last couple of years, which make me really happy for other people. And so I do want to offer that up to you as well, if you are the type of person who's so interested in things. Anyways, with that said, wish you well once again. Take care. I salute you. And